Amid dire warnings from China, the U.S. House of Representatives Speaker Nancy Pelosi is currently in Taiwan. Pelosi today said she comes in peace for the region, even as China gears up for military drills in the region in retaliation. Pelosi met Taiwan's President Tsai Ing-wen at the presidential palace. President Tsai thanked Pelosi for her unwavering support and awarded her the Order of Propitious Clouds with special Grand Cordon. Tsai struck a defiant note and said that Russia's invasion of Ukraine has renewed a focus on the security in the Taiwan Strait, but said that Taiwan will not back down.
The Order of Propitious Clouds with special Grand Cordon upon Speaker Pelosi.
面对持续且刻意升高的军事威胁，台湾不会退缩，会坚定维护国家主权，坚守民主的防线。同时也希望和全世界民主国家团结合作，共同维护民主的价值。
Pelosi reaffirmed America's commitment to Taiwan's democracy and vowed not to abandon the island nation.
Now more than ever, America's solidarity with Taiwan is crucial, and that is the message we are bringing here today. America's determination to preserve democracy here in Taiwan and around the world remains ironclad.
Earlier, Pelosi visited the Taiwanese parliament where she met Tsai Ing-wen, the deputy speaker of Taiwan's parliament, where she elaborated on the purpose of her visit.
Our purpose are the three purposes I said, but in doing so we want to increase interparliamentary cooperation and dialogue. And we do so at a time when our president has put forth an Asian Pacific initiative, which we support, and we want to be specific in terms of how we work with Taiwan in that regard.
Her arrival prompted a furious response from China. The Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi today vowed to punish those who offend Beijing, calling the visit a complete farce. China considers Taiwan a part of its territory and has said that it is willing to use force if needed to bring it under its control. Chinese warplanes buzzed at the line dividing the Taiwan Strait before her arrival. As her plane touched down on Tuesday, more than 20 Chinese military jets entered Taiwan's air defense zone. And within an hour of her landing, Beijing announced that its army would conduct a series of live-fire military drills in the air and at sea around Taiwan from Thursday to Sunday. It warned ships and aircraft not to enter the affected areas. Beijing also summoned the U.S. ambassador to condemn Pelosi's trip. China has also rolled out economic sanctions. It announced curbs on the import of fruit and fish from Taiwan while halting all shipments of sand to the island. In response to China's military drills, Taiwan's cabinet announced that the island's military had stepped up its alertness level. Russia has also reacted to Pelosi's visit, saying that it was a clear provocation and risked conflict. The Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov today said that it was the US's desire to show the impunity that prompted such an out-of-the-blue visit, rather.
I daren't judge what drove them, but I have no doubt that this reflects the same line we have been talking about regarding the Ukrainian situation. It's a desire to prove to everyone their impunity and to exercise permissiveness. I do what I want, something like that. I see no other reason to create such an annoyance almost out of the blue, knowing very well what it means for the People's Republic of China.
For more on this, our correspondent Patrick Falk has sent us this report from Beijing. Let's listen in.
Well, a furious response from China was expected. China summoned the US Ambassador Nicholas Burns and lodged stern representations. The Foreign Ministry also issued a statement making this point in particular, that the executive branch of the US government should have taken the responsibility to stop this visit from going ahead, and that China does not accept that this was an unofficial visit and part of long-standing US policy. There was a military response, of course, as well. Moments after Nancy Pelosi touched down in Taipei, the PLA announced that it would be launching long-range live firing drills in waters to the east of Taiwan. Also kicking off on Thursday will be live drills in 6 locations surrounding the island, no doubt aimed at demonstrating China's ability to overwhelm Taiwan. But, you know, the potential damage to relations between China and the US were really in stark contrast to the deepening of ties with Taiwan. And Nancy Pelosi really has had a warm welcome there in her meeting with President Tsai. When today President Tsai talked about her respect and admiration for the US House Speaker for supporting Taiwan's democratic development over the last 2 decades. Nancy Pelosi, for her part, said that her visit demonstrated that the US would not abandon Taiwan in the face of growing aggression from Beijing.
I earlier also spoke to Vincent Chow, a former political director at Taiwan's representative office in Washington, D.C. Let's listen in to his analysis of Pelosi's visit to Taiwan.
The costs and risks of, the risks definitely of cross-strait engagements have increased dramatically over the past few years. The PRC is flying military jets into Taiwan's air defense identification zone on a regular basis now, and this was not the case when we look 5 or 6 years in the past. So certainly the Chinese have been ramping up the rhetoric, heightening the tensions. But I think it's also very, very important for us to take a step back and look intensely at what keeps Taiwan safe. And we have to be clear-eyed on that. And what keeps Taiwan safe is, number one, defense deterrence. And this is precisely what Taiwan has been undergoing. But number two, also Taiwan's international partnerships. So the stronger the interest the U.S. can take in Taiwan's security, the more of a security guarantee they can give in terms of peace and stability in the Taiwan Strait. All of that contributes to Taiwan's stability. All of that contributes to Taiwan's security. And ultimately, I think all of that is going to contribute to all of us being able to keep peace within the Taiwan Strait and within the Indo-Pacific region. These are sanctions that are quite targeted against a number of agricultural industries. Agriculture is not Taiwan's largest industry, so in terms of GDP, the impact is not going to be large. Of course, it's going to affect farmers. It's going to affect some foodstuff manufacturers, but the repercussions should be quite limited. I think, but more broadly, what again this shows is the need for Taiwan to economically diversify. Over 40% of our exports and imports are reliant on the Chinese market, and that gives the PRC enormous political leverage over Taiwan. And so what we hope to do during Pelosi's visit is continue to emphasize to her, as well as other policymakers in the U.S., the importance of Taiwan's economic security as well as our economic self-sufficiency.
WION World is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.